Seeing that Cheng Yao's arm is scratched, Qian Heng takes out a band-aid and helps put it on. The next day, Bao Rui, happy about winning the lawsuit, offers to treat Cheng Yao to a big dinner, but Cheng Yao declines. There's no joy in winning a case for someone like Chen Qingmei. Qian Heng calls Cheng Yao into the office to explain why he took Chen Qingmei's case. He says you need to look at many aspects to judge if a person is good or bad. Even bad people have a kind side, and sometimes they have no choice but to act a certain way. Plus, the law gives everyone freedom, and if someone does wrong, the law will not be lenient. After their conversation, Cheng Yao feels enlightened. She realizes she was too emotional and not professional enough. Reflecting on it, she sees the value in being an assistant lawyer for Qian Heng. Leaving the office, Cheng Yao is in a better mood and returns to her desk to rewrite her goals. Strangely, her thoughts drift back to Qian Heng. She quickly distracts herself by staying busy, not wanting to dwell on him too much. Qian Heng, unable to sleep in his villa, calls Wu Jun, who angrily scolds him. So, Qian Heng returns to the apartment where Cheng Yao watches TV dramas. He claims he came to find a pen, but actually, he wants to move back. Cheng Yao watches him search around and eventually helps him get a taxi to go home. The next day, Qian Heng, who has been suffering from insomnia for several days, arrives at work with dark circles under his eyes. To hide his sleeplessness, he wears a pair of sunglasses. During a meeting, Cheng Yao summarizes the Chen Qingmei case. As they leave the conference room, Cheng Yao notices the dark circles under Qian Heng's eyes. She wants him to move back to the apartment. Just then, Bao Rui enters, and Cheng Yao quickly changes the topic. Cheng Yao invites the group for pizza. During the meal, Bao Rui receives a call that Chen Qingmei's baby was born prematurely, is starved of oxygen, and is diagnosed with cerebral palsy. If the baby dies, Chen Qingmei won't receive any support. Mr. Dong asks Cheng Yao to withdraw the paternity test since Chen Qingmei's son has physical defects. Jiang Wenqiu and Dong Min, also very upset, plan to move abroad and no longer take care of him. Cheng Yao receives a call from her mother, who says they will visit in a few days and stay for a while. Cheng Yao thinks to herself that it's lucky Qian Heng moved out, as she wouldn't know what to do if her parents found them living together. Meanwhile, Qian Heng asks Bao Rui to book 2 tickets to another city for the next day. To get to the airport early, Qian Heng decides to stay at the apartment. Cheng Yao cooks dinner and plays a horror movie, hoping to scare Qian Heng into going back to the villa. Unexpectedly, Qian Heng remains unfazed by the scary scenes, but Cheng Yao ends up being severely frightened herself. As Cheng Yao gets ready for bed, a cool breeze blows through the window, causing the curtains to flutter. Suddenly, the power goes out, plunging the room into darkness. Remembering the horror movie from dinner, Cheng Yao is too scared to stay alone in her room, so she runs to Qian Heng's bedroom and begs him to let her sleep there. Neither of them can sleep, so they start talking. Qian Heng shares that when he first started working, his parents did not support him, so he had to build everything from scratch. After chatting for a long time, both of them get hungry, so they get up to have a late-night snack. Cheng Yao talks about how, when she first became a lawyer, her counselor used to take her everywhere to drink with clients. This makes Qian Heng very angry, and he asks for the counselor's name. He then gives Cheng Yao advice on her future career development, pointing out the best direction for her growth. Cheng Yao and Qian Heng chat until late at night. When sleepiness hits, Cheng Yao falls asleep first and unconsciously climbs onto Qian Heng's bed. She turns over, putting one leg on Qian Heng, and grabs the quilt, pulling it away from him. Squeezed to the edge of the bed, Qian Heng ends up pushed to the floor by morning. They both wake up, feeling both annoyed and amused by the situation. When meeting the new client, Mr. Tang, he notices Cheng Yao's youthful beauty and firmly holds her hand during the handshake. Qian Heng quickly intervenes. Mr. Tang briefly outlines the main issues he has entrusted to Junheng law firm this time. Mr. Tang introduces the main executives of the company, and then Qian Heng discusses cooperation matters with them. Meanwhile, Mr. Tang sits aside, not participating actively and secretly taking photos of Cheng Yao with his mobile phone. Cheng Yao is deeply engrossed in analyzing the case and doesn't realize it's nearly noon until her stomach growls loudly. Sitting next to her, Qian Heng hears it and suggests that Cheng Yao take his briefcase outside the conference room under the pretext of delivering documents, so she can grab something to eat and recharge. Back at the hotel, Cheng Yao sends a message to Qian Heng seeking information, but he doesn't read it as he's taking a shower. Concerned he might have fainted from hunger, she orders porridge and takes it to his room. Qian Heng, wearing a bath towel and preparing to work late, takes a bite and comments that the hotel's porridge isn't as tasty as Cheng Yao's. This prompts Cheng Yao to start cooking porridge herself. Seeing her busy look, Qian Heng leans back in his chair and falls asleep. The next day, Tang Bing invites Qian Heng and Cheng Yao to dinner at a 5-star hotel. Tang Bing prepares fine wine, but Qian Heng declines, stating he doesn't drink during work. Despite Qian Heng's refusal, Tang Bing insists on persuading him to drink. Cheng Yao, aware of Qian Heng's sensitive stomach and inability to drink, considers intervening to protect him from the alcohol. Suddenly, she recalls how she resigned from her previous job due to her aversion to socializing, and she now feels a similar discomfort resurfacing at this dinner. Qian Heng abruptly intervenes, informing Tang Bing that he doesn't permit drinking during work for his team. Despite Tang Bing's continued persuasion, Qian Heng firmly asserts that his principles cannot be compromised. The atmosphere becomes awkward, and Tang Bing reluctantly gives up. After the meal, Qian Heng advises Cheng Yao to leave behind her previous work beliefs when at Junheng. Back in her room, Cheng Yao has a video chat with Ting. During their conversation, Tang Bing's assistant messages Cheng Yao, asking her to come to the conference room to organize supplementary information. Cheng Yao considers consulting Qian Heng but decides not to disturb him, so she heads to the conference room alone. When Cheng Yao finally arrives, Tang Bing dismisses his assistant under the pretext of fetching documents. He then asks Cheng Yao to help fix the router. As Cheng Yao kneels under the table, working on the cables, Tang Bing's behavior becomes increasingly inappropriate and provocative. Feeling anxious, Cheng Yao discreetly takes a picture of Tang Bing's misconduct with her phone and uses the opportunity to quickly leave the conference room. Cheng Yao prepares to publish the video online. Suddenly, Qian Heng knocks on the door and requests to print a document. Upon seeing the video, Qian Heng becomes furious and storms to the conference room, where he confronts Tang Bing physically. Tang Bing threatens to call the police, but Qian Heng lays out the consequences. Faced with the situation, Tang Bing reluctantly agrees to sign and terminate their agreement. Later, Qian Heng reprimands Cheng Yao for meeting Tang Bing alone without his permission. Despite the scolding, Cheng Yao feels a sense of warmth from Qian Heng's concern and protection. As Cheng Yao prepares to leave Qian Heng's room, she can't resist asking him why he's so kind to someone like her. It's then that Qian Heng realizes Cheng Yao sees herself merely as a practical assistant who can cook and manage tasks. He responds by saying she's a crucial employee to him. After a long pause, he hesitates over what else to say. Is she really just an important employee? Qian Heng isn't sure himself, but he feels his heart racing as he struggles to find the right words. Turning around, Qian Heng calls Wu Jun and relays Cheng Yao's question to him. Wu Jun advises taking such questions seriously. After ending the call, Wu Jun notices Chengxi leaving the house, so he goes to greet her. Chengxi mentions she's meeting a client. Wu Jun offers to drive her, but Chengxi declines, asking him not to contact her in the future. He feels deeply frustrated. He had given his friends clear advice in similar situations, yet now that it's happening to him, he feels powerless to act. Qian Heng invites Cheng Yao to eat high-end desserts, and Cheng Yao asks Qian Heng to teach him some Sanda skills. As a family lawyer, she is likely to suffer some retaliation and can use it to defend herself. Qian Heng tells Cheng Yao that he can protect her. Since their task ended early, they have 2 extra days. Qian Heng suggests they stay and enjoy the local area instead of changing their tickets, calling it a treat for Cheng Yao. When Cheng Yao checks her phone, she notices the video she recorded of Tang Bing is gone. Qian Heng admits he deleted it to prevent bad memories for her. In the amusement park, she tries to win a pillow by shooting, but can't hit any targets. Qian Heng steps in, wrapping his arms around her, and together they shoot and quickly hit many balloons. Then the two of them go to play on a roller coaster together. Before riding, Cheng Yao secretly wishes she could always be with Qian Heng like this. Qian Heng asks her where she'd most like to travel if given the chance. Cheng Yao replies that she'd love to go somewhere close to nature. Qian Heng mentions he's been to a scenic spot like that and suggests they could visit it together during a future team-building trip. Cheng Yao starts to fantasize about having an affair, but Qian Heng suddenly interrupts her thoughts by asking her to write a review. She accuses him of being overly attentive, and Qian Heng bursts out, "Because you're important to me." The atmosphere becomes tense, and Cheng Yao, blushing and with her heart racing, excuses herself to go to the bathroom. Qian Heng waits outside. Meanwhile, a student approaches, wanting to buy the pillow for his girlfriend. Unable to refuse, Qian Heng talks extensively and eventually offers the couple a buffet coupon for the Intercontinental Hotel in exchange for leaving the pillow. At night, Qian Heng still insists Cheng Yao write the review. Cheng Yao sits in front of the computer but falls asleep before finishing. Qian Heng notices her sleeping soundly and smiles as he recalls the day. He too falls asleep while sitting in the chair. In the morning, Qian Heng receives a text message that Junheng won by Xingming's lawsuit. When they return, Wu Jun anxiously asks Qian Heng why he rejected Tang Bing's case, revealing that Tang Bing has complained about Junheng to the Lawyers Association. Cheng Yao, wanting to make up for her mistake, invites Qian Heng to dinner. However, when Ting sends a message inviting Cheng Yao to dinner, she postpones her dinner with Qian Heng. Deng Ming visits Cheng Shi again, pretending to reminisce about the past, but he really just doesn't want her to be with other men. Cheng Shi, tired of his behavior and seeing through his tactics, starts recording him and prepares to call the police. Deng Ming, realizing this, leaves angrily and doesn't dare to harass her anymore. Cheng Shi invites Qian Heng to dinner to thank him for helping Cheng Yao in a difficult situation. During the dinner, Cheng Shi tells Qian Heng that she is an expert in family trusts and promises to help him in any way she can in the future. She also learns that Qian Heng suffers from insomnia and gives him an incense that can help him sleep better. Wu Jun is waiting for Qian Heng at the hotel entrance. He asks what happened. Qian Heng explains what occurred during their business trip. Wu Jun initially wants to take down Tang Bing but decides to avoid further action to protect Cheng Yao's reputation. In the end, Wu Jun trades 1 month's dividend for the gift Cheng Shi gave to Qian Heng. In the office, when Bao Rui reveals the location of second team building event, Cheng Yao remembers that Qian Heng mentioned it at the amusement park. Realizing that Qian Heng took his promise to her seriously, she can't help but feel happy. Bao Rui receives a new lawsuit targeting 2 million, which doesn't align with Junheng's usual approach. During discussions, Bao Rui identifies the defendant's lawyer as Yao Feng, who used to be Cheng Yao's counselor at a previous law firm. It appears Qian Heng intervened on Cheng Yao's behalf this time. He assigns Bao Rui as the lead lawyer with Cheng Yao assisting. Bao Rui reviews Yao Feng's practice history and finds him lacking in professionalism but skilled at networking. Confident in his abilities, Bao Rui prepares for the trial. On the trial day, Yao Feng warns Cheng Yao he won't hold back in court. However, Bao Rui easily secures victory, leaving Yao Feng visibly frustrated as he exits the courtroom. After leaving the court, Cheng Yao sends a message to Qian Heng to thank him. Qian Heng reminds Cheng Yao about her promise to treat him to a seafood dinner. As they discuss what seafood to buy, Qian Heng suddenly sends a voice message asking Cheng Yao to return to the apartment quickly. It turns out Cheng Yao's mother has arrived at the apartment unannounced. Cheng Yao tries to explain to her mother that Qian Heng is her boss. However, her mother doesn't believe it, dismissing the idea that a boss would live in such a place. In this misunderstanding, their relationship is mistakenly labeled as boyfriend and girlfriend. Unable to clarify, Cheng Yao reluctantly agrees with her mother's assumption, stating that Qian Heng is her boyfriend and a regular assembly line worker. Her mother accepts this explanation and decides to stay with relatives instead. Before leaving, she reminds Cheng Yao that Qian Heng, as an assembly line worker, is not suitable for their family. Ting chats with Cheng Yao, who simply forgets about her promise to treat Qian Heng to dinner. When Cheng Yao returns home, Qian Heng suggests taking her to a spa city for a massage to help with her headache. After their massage, as they are leaving, they unexpectedly run into Cheng Yao's parents who are also at the spa city for a massage. Cheng Yao quickly explains that Qian Heng was there for work and hastily takes her parents away. Qian Heng leaves shortly after. On his way out, his mother spots him and learns from the manager that Qian Heng was accompanied by a woman. Curious about her son's relationship, Qian Heng's mother takes a taxi and decides to follow him to find out more.